Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and I want to welcome you to my stamp room. Let me fix my shirt here. I must be opposite in the camera. All right. Anyway, welcome to my stamp room. I've got some great projects planned for tonight. We're using the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set. That's this one here. It comes as a bundle, and it's got die cuts and 3D embossing folder. So I'm really excited about that. So hopefully you can hear and see me out there on YouTube, and I'm on my website. So if you're on my website watching and you comment down below, I won't be able to see it until this is over, but I will definitely answer any questions that you may have if you're on my website. I would recommend that you go to YouTube and sign into your account, and that way you can comment and ask questions live while I'm here. So, couple of things. I sent catalogs out to those of you who wanted one. Anybody that placed an order with me over the last 6 to 12 months got a catalog. And then I also put out in my newsletter any requests for catalogs. Hey, Sylvie. Hey, Jana. Good. Yay, you can see and hear me. So anyway, I put catalogs in the mail on Monday, and then I know that a few people have gotten them. So hopefully, I would hope by tomorrow or Saturday, everybody would have gotten one. The new catalog goes live May 6th for everybody. There's a lot of stuff that's not in the catalog, that's not on the last chance list. However, that will be available on the online store. So a lot of things that a lot of the basics that you won't find, but it'll all be in the online store. So there's lots of new stuff coming out. Hey, Mary Ellen. Yay, you made it. Karen, yay, you made it. All right. And also there's new online exclusives coming out. Same day, May 6th. It's going to be busy, busy, busy. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead. I've kind of been playing this week with all the new stuff. It's been a lot of fun. It's always fun to get new stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And one of the things I'm going to do is, last week I made a card, my last demonstration that I did, and I got a big blotch on it, but I fixed it. And so I just did it just a few minutes ago. So I will share that. And then I've got a bunch of cards to share that I forgot to share last time. Some new ones that I just got, and then some cards that I just meant to share with you because it used the same stamp set that we were using. And then lastly, I do a demonstration with the butterflies. And I've got some cards to show with that too. In fact, I've got a couple cards that I was supposed to show 2 weeks ago when I did the demonstration. So I'll just try to get caught up tonight. We'll call tonight a get caught up night. So let me switch my camera over so you can see. So this was the card I was attempting to make. And this is where the blotch was, remember? And then, so I went ahead and made this card just moments ago, actually, where I cut out 2 frames, a white and a black frame. This one just has a frame, but it's just black cardstock around the edge. I just decided to cut 2 frames because I love this. This is like Textured Notes die set is one of my favorite ones right now. Oh, good, you made it, Linda. Cool. Okay, and then I did a label, and you will see that that's actually what's covering up the blotch. So there's the blotch. The label's covering that up. And on this one, I just put some gems on the label. I didn't put them even on the card. It probably didn't even need those, but it's always fun to put a little bling on there. Hey, Lynn. All right, so this is the card from last week. All right, let's see. This one, I can move this. This is my piece of garbage. All right, so this card I got from Leanne. Leanne sends me a card every month because she places orders and she mails me a check. And it's really cute. It's got that cute little bunny on there. And then if you look, I'm trying to make it so you can see, but this is a die in the back here. And then she cut a second die, I believe. Yeah, it's a second die. And she cut out, just trimmed off these flowers and colored them. And you can see it's got Wink and Stella on it too. And then it added a couple of sequins. So, and oh, a ribbon down here. It's pretty. Cute, a cute Easter card. And then she raised hers up. So it's a base of Whisper or Basic White with another frame. And I like that look. I like that look of white on white with it raised a little bit. So that was from Leanne this week. And this one was from Tina. And this one could have come a while ago. It was down on my desk in my office, and I pulled everything and cleaned my desk today. And just wanted to show this really quickly. So Tina is a stamper. She stamps all the time, and she does some just beautiful work. So that was from Tina. All right. So this month, we have to talk a little bit about this month's tutorial. I'm just going to go quickly. This month's tutorial is this stamp set, which is called, I'm searching, Thankful Garden. So if you place an order with me, you will get this in PDF form into your email. And if your order's over 50, the following month, you will get a packet of supplies with paper, the embellishments, the ribbon, the cardstock to make the projects that I made. And just so you're aware, those of you who placed an order in March, those packets went out today for March's tutorial. So I finally got the stuff today and got everything packed up and mailed out. So watch your mailboxes for that too. So lots of fun stuff coming this week. All right, so we have the hydrangea with the You Can Make a Difference, and you can see the bling on there. These were the cards I did. It was just last week. That's crazy. And as you can see on every one, I used that textured note frames. God, I love that. I love that die set. And then this is the one that you'll actually make. And then I have the one that I messed up. All right, so that's that. And then I made some more cards with that Thankful Garden stamp set. So I wanted to show you. So this one was one I made. I had some friends come up for the weekend and we stamped. And I put this one together. This is where I used up all my black paper. Remember I told you last week I didn't have any more because I used it all. But this one folds out. Super easy. Cute. It's kind of a fun fold. This one I loved with the, oh look, this has got, there we go. I gotta glue that down better. Can't remember what that technique is called. Cracked earth? Nope. Earthquake? Nope. I don't know. Anyway, it's a really fun technique and it's super easy. And of course now Petra's gonna bark. So let her out. I'll be right back. It's been crazy nice here in Red Lodge. And it's really hard to believe the sun is still up. I love it. I love it. The snow is like, I have very little bit left in my yard and probably will spend some time tomorrow power raking. So anyway, can't remember what this technique is called, but if anybody remembers, I did this card. I think I might have did something similar to this a few weeks ago in one of my Thursday night things on YouTube. I love this one. And I don't think I showed these last week. And this is done with the blueberry and the freesia. So the same two colors I was using. I really wanted to show this, but just blend it in there. I love how it turned out. And if you ever have seen hydrangeas in real life, they are like multicolored like that. I love to go out to Oregon when the hydrangeas are in full bloom because it's absolutely gorgeous. And this one just uses some of the black and white paper. And actually I didn't even color the leaves. Add a little ribbon, call it good. This one uses the die cut, that's the leaves, and I actually sponged some of the garden green ink on that. Really pretty. They're very simple, but I love how they turned out. I love this set, as you can tell. And this one uses all kinds of the dies on there. And then the last one I did was this one, which was just kind of it's not really a fun fold because it's just different, but it's got this edge that comes over and a barely stamped. So I stamped off the image on the background just to give it a little background texture. So those are some more of that garden set called Thankful Garden. I have to keep looking behind me. All right, so tonight we are using, like I said, we're using beautiful butterflies. We're using the embossing folder. And this is one of those embossing folders that cuts and embosses. And I have to admit, I think this is the first, I'm just looking for all the dies. This is the first one that I have that I've actually used. Does that make sense? So I actually use the piece that you use to cut out, and I'll show you how that works. I might have shown this a couple months ago maybe, but I was kind of waiting for it to come back into stock so I could show some other things with it. All right, and so these are the dies, and this one actually cuts a full butterfly out, but it also will cut a note card, and we're going to do some of that tonight. And there's little bodies and little butterflies, and these cut out some of the stamped images. And then this one cuts out these are two different dies, but if you put them together, you can put them together and cut out and get, you know, the outline cut out, and then these pieces. And then a couple of frames, which I'm going to show you tonight. I'm going to use some of those too. So I'm just going to set this aside so I don't lose it with the embossing folder. We are also using tonight, we're going to use the paper Floral Delight. I love this paper. There's something about yellow, but especially this time of year. So as you can see, I've used this. I've cut them all different shapes and cut stuff out of them. But these are the papers I'm using tonight. Delightful Floral. All right, so let's see. We're going to start. I have them kind of piled up here how I want to start. So I'll start with this one. This is a card. It's actually on a quarter piece of cardstock. So it's a quarter piece of Daffodil Delight. We're going to emboss this piece of basic white to frame that out. And then we're going to use this piece to cut the actual note card. So it opens up like that. So that's how that butterfly works. I just think this is really cute. And you could really make some really quick, fun packet of cards for somebody. So we'll put that up there so you can see it. I've got this piece, which is 5 by 7, and this is going to get folded in half. See, I do that and then I think, oh, it doesn't look right, but it is. So 5 by 7, folded in half, and then you're going to take your die. So it's this die here is the one. And if you see this has little lines up here, you kind of want those lines to line up at that fold. So can you see how those dash marks are right there? I'm just going to line that up there. And what that's going to do is it's going to cut it, but it's not going to completely cut off the fold. So this will be able to open up. Now, because this is kind of finicky, I'm actually going to set it where I need it, and then I'm going to take a piece of tape and I'm going to tape it. In fact, I might even put 2 pieces of tape because I really don't want this to move. I want to make sure that I'm cutting it right along that line. So I'm going to run this through my embossing machine. And when I do this, I'm going to be using plate number 1, plate number 2, a cutting plate, put that on there, and then a plate on top, and I'm going to run this through. Maybe. There we go. And as you know, I don't do my cutting on the table in here because, number 1, I don't have a whole lot of room, and number 2, I'm afraid it's going to shake the camera and make you guys all dizzy. All right, so then I'm going to take the tape off, and I save these pieces of tape because I use them over and over and over and over till they shred. Till I'm like, yeah, that's probably good. I probably got my money's worth out of that piece of tape. All right, so there is your note card. And when you open it up, isn't that cute? Love it. So that's going to go there, and these are scraps that I can get rid of. And then we are going to set this die aside. We're going to bring in our 3D embossing folder, and we're going to also bring in the butterfly die and one of the bodies. We're going to do this body. So these 2 are cut with white, and this one is embossed, this piece here. So I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to slide it into the machine, and it doesn't really matter where I put it at, because I just want to get it embossed. It's going to cover up that big butterfly in the middle anyway, but I love the butterflies on the outside, and I love the look of that. So I'm going to put this through my embossing machine, and because it's a 3D, we're coming in with plate number 1. We're going to put this so that the fold of the embossing folder goes into the machine, and the reason for that is because the pressure is going to mount, and I want the pressure when I put this through my machine like this, goes through like this, the pressure is going to come out this end, and it's actually, it's where the opening is, and so all the air will flow out. If I attempted to go this way, all the pressure would come through, and it would end up on the crease of your embossing folder, and it has been known to crack them. And nobody wants a cracked embossing folder. Although I will say I have done it before, so you know, I teach you with all the things that I've done, and I ended up using tape and taped it all up and continued to use it. So that's just a piece of embossing. Oh, isn't that pretty? It's basic white embossed, which is going to go on there. And we're probably going to put some ribbon on that if I have some laying around here somewhere. All right, and so then what we're going to do is we're going to come in with a piece of white, and we're going to cut some dies. And so we're going to use plate number 1, plate number 2, the paper. However, on this one, oh wait, I got to put a plate down here. Oh, look at how nasty that plate is. It's going to crack. Pretty soon I'll get to get a new one. All right, because this is one of those dies that has lots of different pieces and things that you want to punch out, I'm actually going to use it upside down for me. I'm going to lay those there. I'm going to lay my paper on top, and then I'm going to put a plate on top. And I'm talking about using it upside down, and I'll tell you why. Because it has all those little tiny, tiny pieces in there. If I put it through my machine this way, this plastic plate is the only thing that's blocking any pressure to cut those off. If I had flipped it over, which I normally do, but I've learned this new technique. If I had flipped the butterfly die over and ran it so that the cut side was down, it has to go through this base and that little piece of paper and another clear plate. And it really messes up the pressure. And sometimes, I don't know if you've done it, but when you have those detailed dies, sometimes you have to run it through a couple times to get all those little pieces of paper out. Sometimes you have to spend a lot of time digging out little pieces of paper. But you can see already, look at how much of those little pieces of paper came out. So if I just flip this over, let me move it out of the way, bang it down a few times, all of those papers are coming out. And then the die is going to come out. So try that with your die cutting machine on these, especially these detailed ones. I like to get all the papers out so that the next time I use this, I'm not stacking them up in there. So a couple weeks ago I was with friends, and I was using a die cut over and over and over and over and over, and all of a sudden it quit working, and I was like, what's wrong? And I realized that I had like little pieces of paper stacked up, and then it has a hard time cutting. So really, that is how simple that is to cut that out. So use that technique upside down. All right, and then we're going to pull this one out, the little body here. And now we're getting ready here pretty soon to put our card together. Let me move these out of the way. We'll bring in our card. I'm going to, here's ribbon. I'm going to use this silver ribbon. I love this white ribbon. However, I've used it all. So I didn't have it to, so I thought, well, we'll just add some silver ribbon. This is one of those ribbons, it's kind of a basic, because it looks good with everything, every card. And the other thing is if you want it to be a certain color, you can color it with either your blends or your markers or your ink pad. All right, so I'm going to do a bow. And when I do a bow, I measure 4 times, 2, 3, 4. And that gives me enough ribbon to tie around. I think I'll put it just on this base. So I can put the ribbon down and then bring it around, and I will have enough to tie a bow and not waste too much ribbon. I don't want to get it too tight because this piece of embossed cardstock is not flimsy, but it's, you know, it's been embossed, so the fibers of the cardstock are broken. All right, so there's my ribbon, and I'm just going to have to trim these up a little bit, so I haven't really wasted. And cut that one off and trim this one off. All right, so with the 4 lengths, there's the ribbon that I've wasted. So that's awesome. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this So because I didn't attach that at the back, I can move that ribbon exactly where I want it, and I want to scoot it all the way over to the side because I'm going to put the note card in there. All right, so once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead, and how I'm going to do this, instead of putting adhesive on this piece, because it's been embossed, the fibers are kind of broken, and sometimes the adhesive sticks to it and pulls back on it. So I'm just going to add like that. Here I was doing it the other way. Sometimes it happens with regular cardstock, I guess. I probably just messed this one up. And this is when I pull out my green glue. I'm just kidding. All right, so there's that. I'm going to lay this on so I have a border all the way around it. And then I'm going to add this butterfly, and I'm going to add it with dimensionals. And I want to show you I used up all that big sheet of dimensionals I've been using the last few weeks. Got it all taken care of this weekend. I've been kind of a stamping crazy, planning out some classes and some swaps and all kinds of things. So I'll pull all these little white pieces off here, which are all over my house. And then I'm going to lay this on my card base, and you can see how this starts to come together. And this opens up like that. All right, so once I've done that, then I'm going to take my butterfly that I cut, and I'm actually going to use, I guess I'll use a little green glue. I might have to get another green glue dispenser because these are, oh wait, it's on my desk, just a second. There we go. So I have all these green glues that have a little bit in them, and I need to either use them up or get them moved on. But this was actually at my desk. All right, so I didn't put a ton on there. I don't think you need a ton. The other thing you could use is you could use our adhesive sheets if you wanted it to be completely attached. So I'm going to lay that on there, squish it down, and then I'm going to add the body. Oops. Green glue, a little bit goes a long way, so be careful. And I'm going to add the body right onto there. And there is, oh, you know what? On this one, did you see where I cut I might do that. I cut off the head off that, so it didn't have two antennas. So I'm just going into a V, and you could actually do this before you actually attach it. However, it still opens up like a butterfly. Okay, so there is the base of that card, and then I'm going to take my frame. I have this little frame here. I'll grab this piece of cardstock and a little Daffodil Delight ink. I wasn't sure earlier today about the inks I needed, so. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out this stamp set, and we're going to use some of the stamps that are in here. So this one says, in case you need me, I'm here. But I only want the in case you need me. That darn dog. I only want this part inked up. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You could put a post-it note over the I'm here and then ink this up, but I'm going to go ahead, because it's photopolymer, I can actually see exactly where I've inked it. And then I can just wipe it off. So you can see where I got the in case you need me, and this one has a little bit of ink on it, and that's why my fingers remain totally inked all the time. So I've got in case you need me, and then I'm going to clean this off. Let me grab a towel. I'm just going to wipe that off. And then I'm going to do the I'm here. And that is one of the nice things about photopolymer, because you can see exactly where you've inked it. I'm going to stamp that over here. The other thing that people do, I have not to this point, but I wouldn't mind doing it, is they cut them apart. And so what they do is they trim it. You just use a scissor and cut like straight across and then up. And then if you want to put it back together, it's like a puzzle. You put those pieces together. But I haven't, I don't know if I can do that. All right, so I've got In Case You Need Me, and now I'm here, won't fit in my frame. However, I think it fits in this frame maybe? What did I use? Yeah. I suppose it will. Are they the same width? Yeah. It might trim off the top of the H, but that's okay. You can always use a different frame from a different set. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. And again, I'm going to use tape to tape them down because I want my sentiments to be straight. And I know if I didn't tape them down, they would be crooked. So I'm going to run this through the embossing machine. I'll be right back. Cutting out the other frame too while I'm over here. All right. And there's our two frames. Let me move this wet thing out of the way so I don't lay on my cardstock, which I've been known to do. So I'm going to take the In Case You Need Me and just attach it to the front of my card. And then the I'm Here can go on the inside. And then of course, we have to have some bling. Even though we have silver, we could use these. This is what I used on here. I used the low profile dots. I don't know if I like it with that silver, so let me grab, I'm gonna grab these party dots. So the party dots have been really popular. In fact, I was on today trying to get some more, but they're on back order right now, but they'll be back. Anyway, we'll put some party dots on there, because then it doesn't look bad. So there is my first project, little note card, super easy to do. All right, let me set this one aside, not on the towel. I'm going to do another one very similar, only on this one I'm going to show you how to do the inking and embossing and cutting out with the embossing folder and the die. All right, so we're going to start again 7x5, fold it in half. This is going to be your note card. We're going to emboss this in the embossing folder. Same steps as the last one, only it's going to get a little bit different when I cut out this butterfly. Ink it and cut out that butterfly. So let me run this through my machine. And then I'm probably going to let the dog in because I don't want her outside barking. Drive the neighbors crazy. All right, so here's my piece that's embossed. Okay, just a second. She thinks I'm in here, like, have people in the computer because she just can't figure it out. All right, so we've got this piece. We're gonna I'm gonna do ribbon on this one though. All right, I'm not gonna put together yet. So that piece is ready to go. This piece we're gonna cut out just like we did the last one. Let me find the what what I do with it. See, this is what happens. It was right here. It can't have gone far because, oh, there it is. All right, so this is going to get lined up. And remember, you could use any papers. Any papers on this would be beautiful. So I'm going to line that up. Once I kind of get it, and there's dash marks out here too, so you can really see. I'm going to grab my tape, tape it down, run it through. So this is a die, so of course it's platform, 2, clear plate, die, paper, clear plate. Run this through. Pop this out, maybe. My tape is starting to get, just have to be a little careful on that designer series paper when the tape gets mushed in there so hard, because you don't want to rip the paper. But it's Post-it tape, so it should come up pretty easily. All right, so I'm getting rid of the garbage. There's my butterfly. All right, now we're done with this one. Now we're going to take this butterfly, this stamp, and we're going to make sure we stamp it, put it on the block correctly. So there, it's on the block with the design above, up here. I'm going to go ahead with the Daffodil Delight and ink it up. Sometimes I think with these big stamps it's better to flip your stamp over and then ink it up. Hopefully this is inked enough. I haven't re-inked that for a while. And then I'm going to drop it. So I flip on paper because you own both sides, remember? And I'm going to re-ink it because I dropped it. All right, so once I re-ink it again, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this down. And just want to make sure, because it's a big stamp, that everything gets pressed down. Yay! It's a good image. All right, now, this is how this works. So here's the embossing folder, and here's the die cutting piece, right? It goes on here. So you're going to go ahead and put that die into the groove of the embossing folder, and it fits in there, kind of snaps in. Once you've done that, then you want to kind of flip it over, line up your paper with the die. And this is the hardest part, this part right here. So what you want to do is just make sure that your stamped image is lined up so you can see it. I hope you guys can see it, but you can see the lines of the embossing and the lines that are actually have ink on them. And as soon as it hits the right spot, you'll know, because it lines up. Now once you've done that, you want to make sure that that does not move at all. And you're going to tape this down using those same pieces of tape, flip it down, and then look. Say, yeah, it looks pretty good. You can see it in there. Okay, so we're gonna just cut through this like it's a 3D folder, because that's what it is. So we're gonna use plate number 1, the embossing folder with the die, plate number 4, and this is gonna go through the machine. I think these hybrid embossing folder die sets are amazing, just because it does it all. So I'm going to pull this out. I think I've used my tape enough for now. I'm going to pull this out and pull off the die, and then you can see how it's inked and embossed. Isn't that cool? Love it. All right, so once we've done that, this is going to get added on there. I am going to cut, so I'm going to cut the head off again, off this one, just because I don't want it to have 2 sets of antlers. So all I'm doing is just going to a V and a V until they meet. All right, so that's going to be that. This is going to go on top of that. And I'm also going to do a body. I didn't do a body this time, and I need to. So I'll grab here's a scrap. I'm using up these scraps tonight. All right, because this is a die, it's going to have plate number 2, clear plate, the body, and as long as I'm here, I am going to cut out. Is that the same one? Yep. I'm going to cut that out too, so I have all my pieces. And then a clear plate on top. And I'll take it over to my cut and emboss machine and run it through. And come back. All right. We'll go ahead and pop him out. So it's very similar, but I wanted you to see that how that cuts and embosses. It's amazing. All right, we have a couple of sets like that, I believe. I believe we have a amethyst. I think there was one in the winter catalog. Let me see. I wanted to put ribbon. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 3 this time because I'm going to do a knot. So when you're doing a bow, you do 4, and when you're doing a knot, you do 3. I'm going to take this piece. I'll put this die over there before I lose it. So I'm using one of the new sets in the new catalog this week, and I am not kidding. Some of the dies in there are ridiculous, ridiculously small. However, I love them because it's cool, but I am really going to have to, there. So on a knot, if you just pull one tail, like hold this one down and pull one tail, your knot will end up flat and it won't twist. So if you pull both, you end up with a twisted knot. But if you only pull one, it lays flatter and it doesn't twist. Here's another tip. And again, 3 lengths of ribbon and I haven't wasted much. All right, now I can put this on here and take that knot right to the end. Add that onto my base, which is just a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. And then I'm going to add this on. And I guess I'll put it on with dimensionals. Decide which side you like best. They're both similar. Guess it doesn't matter. Add your dimensionals. Just enough. That's all you need is just enough. No, I just wanted to make sure it stays. Take off all these little papers. This is where I start making a mess. And then we're going to attach this to my card base. And I'm going to attach this. First I'm going to attach this. Now I have to decide. Do I want that to have dimensionals too? I think I do. Just because we can, why not? I'll just do 4. I won't get carried away. Oh, the wind just came up. Goodness, I was like, what is that? All right, so there is my butterfly. And I'll put my little body on with just a little bit of that adhesive. And that body's going to fit right over the body of the butterfly that we stamped. So it's the same thing. And then I'm going to take this, and this time I'm going to use a stamp in that set that says "So Thankful." As soon as I find the stamps, I found them. They're right here. They didn't get totally misplaced. One of the things I've noticed with these photopolymer stamps is if I don't put them like always in the same spot, like always back with the stamp set, or I will find them, you know, stuck under my plastic platform. Find them stuck everywhere. Has a piece of fuzz on it. There we go. So this just says "So Thankful." And this is going to get attached right onto my card. And then we'll add a couple of these cute little party dots. I think this is like my third pack. All right, so there is card number 2. This one has a bow, this one has a knot. Just so you can see the difference. All right. I've got one more card, and this one is actually a little pocket card. Let me get rid of all the scraps of garbage. All right. And then I've got some other cards to show. Oh, here, maybe I'll show this one. So this is the same card, same concept. I used the plaid 3D embossing folder. And I used some of the labels from the stamp set, Unbounded Love dies. They have a whole bunch of labels in there. And they work great with the sentiments in this stamp set. So there's that one. And I just did a little tiny butterfly because it was cute. All right, and then this one is done the same way as this one. The butterfly is. Use the embossing folder. I did everything the same, only this is actually a card. So I just put the butterfly right on there with dimensionals, just so, and then of course added, look at all those dots I used. Holy cow. And I used a little gold label, so that's kind of pretty. But I love how that matches up. All right, so the last one is this one here. And we use a base. This is a basic white thick cardstock. It's a 1/4 sheet. We have this lovely piece of old olive, which I think is the same, 5 by 7. Same as to cut the note cards. And I scored it at, I believe, 3. I'll tell you here. 3 1/4. And then you fold it up. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and use green glue. And I'm just going to put a little bead of glue up the sides of this because I want this to become a pocket. And then I'm going to fold them down. And then I'm going to lay a block over the top of the whole thing and set it aside to do its magic over here, which that means to adhere itself. All right, so I have this piece of designer series paper that I'm going to layer. And then I've got this piece that I'm actually going to cut out this butterfly, and this, and this. So I'm going to cut these pieces all in basic white. This is a super easy card. All right, so I'll get my platform, my plate 1, plate 2, plate 3, piece of cardstock. I'm going to do this differently because I want to cut this upside down. Now, if I were just cutting this piece out, I would probably like tape it to the cardstock and then lay it down. But I know that I want all these pieces cut, and if they move a little bit, it's not the end of the world to me. So I'm going to lay that on the top, and then I'm going to squish it down with this. And you know that I did them up so they were cutting up, so it cuts out better, easier with all those little pieces. It's really going to change how you feel about those dies with the little pieces, because all of a sudden, like I said, you can cut them out. Let me pull this off here. And all those little pieces of paper just fall out. And so I've been one to shy away from detailed stamps because I didn't want to take the time to cut them all out. But now with this technique of the dies being up, thank you to whichever person shared that on YouTube. I just kind of bang it around a while. Gets most of the pieces out, and then this falls out. And you guys know, those of you who have cut out detailed dies know that that is not normal. All right, so let me take all the pieces. Oh wait, gotta get this little body. I do love this little body. There's two little butterflies too, and then two little bodies for them. I'll show you here. So we have this piece and this piece and a label and a body, and then the piece that cuts the note cards, another label, and then these two little butterflies with these two little bodies, and then these cut out the images in the stamp set of the butterflies. That one and that one. And this piece actually cuts out that one. So it's really a fun set. Like I said, there's a lot you can do with it. I'm going to show a couple other things with it here in a minute. But all right, so I got my pieces. And I got my pocket, which I think is probably good to go. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down this pocket onto my card base. Oh, wait. What the heck? I'm going to do ribbon, but I'll just do a knot this time. 1, 2, 3. You can do a knot or a bow. I actually put adhesive on this already, so I have to be a little careful. I want to make sure I'm making sure that that's not in the adhesive so that when I tie this in a knot, I can scoot it all the way over so I can get my butterfly on there. Oh, wait. I'm being kind of a dork. Let's put this on first. So this piece here is actually cut so it's framed out, but I wanted you to see that there's the pocket. So we're not going to tape, we're going to tape this down, but we're going to tape it here so that that pocket you can get into and put stuff in there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add adhesive. Pull this up. I should have used my craft mat because then it wouldn't stick. All right, and then I'm going to lay this piece of designer series paper on there. See, this is one of those classes where you don't do what I do. All right, now I'm going to do the ribbon, but I'm going to make sure that the ribbon is not stuck to any of the adhesive because I might want to pull the knot way to the side. And if it's stuck to the adhesive, it's going to be really hard to do that. I'll tie this in a knot. And again, once I get this little tail through, I'm going to hold this tail down with my finger and I'm going to pull one. And then you'll see that your knot stays flat and doesn't twist. And then I'm going to move this. Yeah, I can do it. Like, it's not touched. Okay. So then this, it's already got adhesive. We're going to lay this onto this, and it's going to frame it out on that base. And then we're going to take all these pieces, and we're going to attach them. So let's start with this and some green glue. And we'll... Boy, it's really gotten windy. Crazy windy out there right now. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but oof. And then you'll see how nicely this layers onto that cutout piece. And if you want to, you could put a block on it and let it sit for a minute till that green glue gets attached. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to this. I loved the look of this white butterfly. I just thought that is really pretty. And it would be pretty in a color too. So if I'd done the butterfly Daffodil Delight in the back and white in the front, or Daffodil Delight in the front and white in the back, it's really pretty. And it's pretty just white on white. So lots of different variations. You could use all different colors. All of your designer series paper. You could make these really cute pockets. And put really nice gift cards in there for your friends, and they would love you. All right. So I put some dimensionals on this. And then I'm going to add my butterfly to the front of my card. And then I have this label. And I'm going to go ahead and use it with the happy birthday stamp. One of the things I want to tell you, the stamp set is actually a lot bigger in real life. So this is the happy birthday image that they show on the front, but the happy birthday is actually bigger than that. Can you see that? So just so you're aware. When I was working today, I was actually measuring stuff off the front of the cover, and then I was like, oh, it's not. Because that's not the right size. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and use Old Olive for this one. Ink that up. I'm going to actually put this happy birthday pretty far over to the side. And attach it to my card. So this side is going to have adhesive, and this side is going to have a dimensional, because part of it's on the butterfly and part of it's on the card, and the butterfly is on a dimensional. So I just want to make sure that that adhesive is there. And of course you can see it's too long, and so I'm just going to take it and I'm going to come up that edge of that Old Olive and snip that off. There's that. And if I choose to, I can put some of these dots on there. I don't think it needs it. I think I'm going to skip them this time. Anyway, this one has dots all over it. This one does not. Oh, I need to do the pocket part. All right. So once, I thought I had a piece of cardstock here. God, I probably used it for something. Let me grab a piece of, if it's not sitting in front of me, a piece of white cardstock to show you how I did that pocket. Oh, where's my white cardstock? All right, and a cutter. So that inside piece of white cardstock is 4 1/8 by 3 1/2. I'll just use this piece here. I'm going to cut this in half. 4 1/8 by 3 1/2. Is that what I said? Hopefully. Oh yeah, now I remember using this piece already to cut out a butterfly. All right, so this is the piece that's actually going to be tucked down inside there, like that. And what I can put on there is a little time to celebrate. Add this little Old Olive ink. Oh, man, I got lucky there. All right, so once I've done that, then I'm going to take the tiny die of the label, and that's going to be my little tab. Let me grab a piece of, I'm just grabbing my scrap. I'm going to use this up tonight. Gotta find my other, oh, there it is. Okay, let me cut this label out. So I am going to use some of those party dots. This would be a fun little gift. You could give somebody, like I said, a nice little gift card would fit inside there. You probably would want to adhere it with a little bit of adhesive to the card so that when they opened up that tab, the gift card came with it. All right, so this is the label I'm going to use as a tab, and I'm just going to fold it in half. And I can actually leave it into a little loop if you want to. And then I'm going to add adhesive here and here. And when I bring this onto my piece of cardstock here, I'm going to go to what appears to be the middle to me. Measure it if you need to. And make a little tab. And I'm going to add a little party dot. Didn't do a very good job getting that. There we go. And then this will actually slide right down inside there. Oh, right down inside there. You have to go behind the designer series paper. Like that. And then people will know to pull that out. So, cute card. I like that one. I thought that was really fun and super easy. All right. Anybody have any questions? Because now's the time to ask. I thought tonight was going to be faster. That's funny that it's 8 o'clock. And it's just still light out a little bit. That's awesome. So looking forward to spring. I'm power raking my yard tomorrow, hopefully. At least that doesn't have snow on it. All right. If anybody have any questions. Oh, I wanted to show a couple more cards. Duh. So this was sent to me by my friends when we stamped together for my birthday using that same butterfly. She used the embossing folder too. So that butterfly is cute just with that. I showed you guys a technique 2 weeks ago where we used the die cut and the craft mat and then colored it beneath. That is one of the cards I meant to show that night. So I colored these with the pastels and then layered it with a white. And then I did a monarch where I colored it with, oranges and peach and yellow, and then did a black. So if you haven't seen this technique, it's pretty cool. Anyway, it's really hard to, there we go. I will post pictures of all of these cards on my website if you're interested. Visit www.DDStamps.com, and while you're there, sign up for my newsletter so that you don't miss out on anything. I've got lots of stuff coming up. I've got a new monthly club going on. Sign-ups end on Tuesday the 15th. I've got paper shares. I just announced the paper shares for the new catalog. Everybody's catalogs went out. And I've got the In Color Club coming up announcement. That's probably not coming out till, I don't know, next week maybe. In Color Club is fun because every month you get a different in color and a sample, and after 5 months you have all the in colors of markers, blends, cardstock, ink refills. Cloud Cover is one of our new in colors, and something was wrong with the ink, and so it has not. Stampin' Up! Refused to release it because they weren't happy with it, and so they're giving us an update probably next week on that. I don't know if they'll get it back in time for this catalog. The name of the set was Beautiful Butterflies, and it's a bundle. So you can buy the stamp set or the dies or the embossing folder separately, or you can buy them all together. Alrighty. Oh, one last card. I have another card to show. This is a cool card. So they just took a piece of designer series paper and chopped it up into little strips. And I'm going to guess it's probably like 4 by, it's a little less than a half. So I don't know. And then you just glue them on randomly. And you can flip them around. And anyway, it's a nice way to, gosh, I'm having a hard time with the camera. It's a nice way to use up some of your scraps. But those are those tiny little butterflies. Adorable. And this little punch is coming back. This punch. I think it's, I don't know, maybe it is. I'm going to have to look, but that punch might be back in stock. So if you really like that stock punch, get it while it's still available. And I think it's going to be available into the next catalog year, if I remember correctly. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming tonight. I will post pictures on my website, so you'll have pictures to look at. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I answer email. I answer phone calls. Take care and have a great night. Thanks, Karen. I love the cards. And, yellow just happens to be one of my favorite colors. All right. I will speak with you all soon. Take care.